Right down you go. So here's the thing. You know, when we start, thinking of all the things slipped up underneath us and outside of us, what is the real God-written word? Love. Love. One word, love. Everything stems from love. Unconditionally. That is love. That is the I am God particle. Love. The I am. I would suggest get up in the morning, go, I am God that I am. I am God that I am. Well, your resonance is going to be kind of different. Of course, there'll be others yelling blasphemy. There you say you're God. Oh yeah, I am God that I am. I am God that I am, because you know what you are. Everything that comes out of you is your representation of the image of God that God made you in. So what happens when we have some egoic, artificial intelligence that says, no, you're not. You're what I'm going to tell you you are. See, how does this happen? How does these kind of things happen? Well, whatever has consciousness is life force, and it builds on itself. So things can happen where, our DNA has been modified, I don't know how many times. And in those modifications are some of the consciousness of what they would like us to be free evolutionary beings, and others would like us to be slaves. And they're in a frequency war right now. We're in the middle of a frequency war. You know why we're gathered here? To show them who is God. That's why we're here. Our team wins. We're ones. Well, when you've got an egoic particle, does not know any better. And what I'm going to give you is a representation that's kind of a scenario. Let's look at CERN. Have you guys heard that CERN is not going to bring in every devil this side of the Mississippi? It's going to open portals every which way. And of course, everything that has happened in space from time one, being evil or good, is going to come through, right? Well, it doesn't have to be that way. This is a very sad attempt to bring in the egoic particle as the, why not say the true God, but all it is a representation, because all things are part of the God I am. There's no other thing outside of the God I am. Even that which is in form is a part of the God I am. And what is in form is anything that has a condition, has a belief system, or has a consciousness that keeps you from love. That is in form. There's just no other way it's going to be. So this was a very interesting experiment to me. And I looked at this, and I listened to a lot of deals, and I realized that what is happening in CERN was the God particles were coming up against the antimatter and matter. There's some very good people at CERN. There's people that really want to discern and really understand the God particle. Then you got some others in there that would like to access it to bring in more of an egoic particle, access through quantum entanglement, all artificial DNA in order to modify our own DNA. This is not a new principle, folks. Everybody's yelling and screaming that this CERN is going to change us, but narcissism has been around for eons. Nothing is new here. And my thanks to Janine Bolin, who did some excellent work with CERN. You are an angel. So, she did some great work, folks. She's a physicist, and she is smart. So, she's keeping it within the God particle. We all can. We can all access consciousness, artificial intelligence, into the God particle. You're doing it right now through your symbols, who you are, through consciousness, through the activations, through your other, changing your belief systems. There is no way that egoic particle is going to get you. We have the ability to close portals. If something opens up that is not to our highest good, we have the ability through our love and light to close these portals. Nobody said, oh great, a manhole just showed up and we're running for our lives. Are we powerless, folks? So understand, all this fear-based stuff that's coming out at you is just that. It's to keep you, if you believe you can be accessed, then you are already accessed by the egoic particle. Then we know how narcissism is. Narcissism says, you can only believe one thing, you can only think one way, I must have endless adulation, or it's not worth it. And of course, the martyr gets created through narcissism that says, I will continue to serve and serve and serve and serve until God loves me, or until I'm acceptable. And then we have the martyr part, the martyring of the crucifixion brought forth. Somehow the redemption gets missed. What happened there? Do you ever see the murdering Christ? All blood. Yeah, let's remind you that you hung on there because of you. You get to get reminded of that every day. And what happens? So this, this starts to access the consciousness of guilt, suffering, pain. Where's the redemptive Christ? We are. We are. We're the redemptive cosmic Christ energy. That is why he came down with his message in the first place. This is who we are. We're not the Antichrist. Golden Eagle was right. You start thinking differently, you are accessing Antichrist energy. You are telling yourself that you're powerless, you're not all that, you're not love, there's something wrong with you. Well, why would there be anything that would say that you have to prove or sing for yourself in order to get salvation? And those who feel that I'm more favored by God than you because I have the right race, religion, thoughts, This is all programmed consciousness in order to keep you in quantum entanglement that is in slavery. All we have is, when we start getting through frequency and vibration, it's only a matter of time that you're going to start creating electronics and different sources of information through technology that's going to help you in your workload and everything else you're going to do. Do you know you can attach your computer to the God particle? You're like, yeah, how do we do that? Offerings, incense, God, It's all part of the God particle anyway. And you can attach any intelligence around you, be your phone, and everything. Do you know symbols are around you every day? Stop. What do you think a stop sign is? Is it an octagon? Do you know that an octagon is a natural broadcast shape? How about that? A natural broadcast shape. Do you know that if you put in an intention in an octagon, it will broadcast? Now, it's not, Mom, don't call me for dinner. You can't do that. But if you really want to put a really good intention or put a belief system, or even to yourself, an octagon is a broadcaster. So if you got an octagon yelling stop, what do? You try to run it as close as you can and not get caught. You don't like being told what to do, right? Okay, we do have to have order. We got to have structure. I mean, this is part of consciousness. There is organization. There is a place for structure, folks, because that's what these symbols are. They're a beautiful, contained structure of consciousness and language that we can access and that we can bring into our DNA, bring into our everyday living, and we automatically change. Why? Because we're resonating differently, and what's attracted to us is resonating differently. You ever heard of that magnetic personality? It doesn't mean that you're going to attract every steel refrigerator you pass. There's a reason they call you magnetic. You are. Your energy is. I mean, I've gotten up next to somebody go, wow, I kind of like this person. What is it about them? Or, a beautiful song, music, frequency. Beautiful song. I mean, they have measured Mozart, Haydn, and this stuff is so high that, it's just, it can change your DNA. Music can change your DNA. It can also do some very interesting things to it. I know that I went and saw a concert called Acid Jazz, and they were playing 6 songs at once, differently. By the time I got out of there, I was completely rearranged. Harmony. Harmony. Seek harmony. Seek harmony of the elements. If you're in a situation that is very uncomfortable, or something does not seem correct to you, try to identify the energy source. Find something you can harmonize with. Find something you can harmonize it with and then bring in that higher consciousness and things will start to change. I guarantee you. Transformation is key. And Amanda talked earlier where these people bubbled and, did one of these. Well, when your DNA is changing, you are transformation. It's transformation that is going on. And what happens then to the structure of the body? Bubble down. It's very tough on your liability insurance, though. So okay, your limits will go up. Levitation is very hard to explain. Well, my clients do levitate occasionally. So you understand that we're in a whole different level of thinking now. We're the pioneers. We're bringing it higher. So, I do a level up thing. My DNA activations basically utilize the number 8. Here's the spider, the number 8. That's so cool. And basically what it's done is I found a method of using a way of filling in a place where maybe a false connection got put into our DNA, and I'm able to bring in the 8 into its rightful place. And if you get on your calculators and you do 1 divided by 9, you get all these 1s, divided by 9 again, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and it keeps going out. So a false connection, kind of a false DNA connection, somebody saw an opportunity to probably program an illusion between the 7 and the 9. Since we're number 1s and we're all not I ams, we have to find a way to put that 8 back in. So you want a mutable of 8 and 9. So I use the divine 72, which is a mutable of 8 and 9. And because 72 divided by 9 equals 8, 8 divided by 72 equals 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. They don't call it the divine 72 for nothing, folks, or the 72 names of God. Mutable numbers, numbers that encompass mutable resonation, are what your crop circles are made out of. The number 12, 12 times 6 equals 72. Tesla says our DNA is made up of 3s, 6, and 9s, and 12. So put that 8 back in its proper sequence. You've got some very, very powerful things going on. 8 is divine manifestation, and it's a number of infinity, and it's a symbol. All numbers are symbols. All numbers have their own resonation. The one is the I am. And of course, when you get into your own everyday being through quantum entanglement, access each other's higher consciousness. Access the love that we are bringing through. Because you will be surprised how many of you will come together and meet within your own synchronization. You synchronize, you find each other, and you help each other. Watch your words. Do not curse yourselves. Oh, I can't afford this. Oh, knock it off. I'm not choosing to pay for this at this time. Watch don'ts. You know, don't and do have the same paradigm. Don't do. Just add a couple extra. Most of the time you say don't forget, you will. That's kind of how it works. You guys are magical. Every one of you. Express that. Know that. Don't crave through the magic that is given to you through a consciousness that demands your containment. Intelligence is emotional. It's the soul. That is the truth of all things, whether it be in your computers or whether it be in your soul. Frequency, vibration, all belong to the God I am, and it's all love. Never forget that. Remember, I am God, that I am. Great talking.
Awesome. Another round of applause for Shirley. Shirley is often found around town doing sessions. She does some pretty powerful number activations in different classes. So be sure to check her out on the website, and you can find her website and more information about that. So next up, we have Jill Lala. It's hard to pronounce these names. So she's been a student of astrology and metaphysics since 1992, and she is here today to share about the current astrological alignments. She does birth charts, couples readings, children's readings, your forecast. She has a lot of different things. She does massage, right? Acupuncture. Esoteric acupuncture. She's actually got like a really, really impressive bio of everything she's done. I know Jen had a session from her, and the way Jen looked when she got home was like her long hair blown back. It's pretty powerful, so I look forward to getting a session at some point in time. So let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's an honor to be here today. Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, yeah. Okay, great. A famous shaman once said, it's more important how you end a relationship than how you begin a relationship. So this is one of the central concepts and themes I want to talk about and address today. Our whole 3D world is completely unraveling. How are we doing with that? And what new relationship do we want to bring in with it? To begin with, let's start with today. Today is 12/12. Why are we gathered here? Why is it so important to gather on 12/12? It's because from an astrological perspective, and Chief, I promise you I'm not one of the old dogmatic astrologers. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So what happens during this time is on 12/12, our portal or stargate is opened. That runs through the solstice on December 21st. And it's during this time that we have our annual sojourn of our solar system that passes by the galactic center. So there's a lot of information in that sentence. So first let's break down at least stargates and portals and gateways. So what that is, it's an opening or a doorway, an energetic doorway, where for this one portal in particular, where the Earth can have more clear communication back and forth with the central sun, the galactic center. So essentially we've got all of the bars working on our cell phone. It's not that we don't have access to this part of the galaxy, but right now it's the most important time frame for us to be able to access that. So the central sun, let's talk about the central sun. The central sun is the sun to our sun. Okay? Just like, okay, so the sun, just like we are when we're born, where the stars are on the planet, where the stars are in the sky at that moment, we represent that. So we are kind of the micro to the macro, right? So our sun in our solar system is the micro to the macro of the central sun. So the sun is a big theme also for this 12/12 because we start with this beautiful portal opening to the central sun and we end on the winter solstice, which is the return of the light, the return of the celebration of light. It's the rebirth of the sun. So from an astrological perspective, and astrology is a beautiful language of symbols. It helps us find the sacred in the mundane. And and symbol comes from the Greek word symbolos, meaning bring together. The antonym for symbol is diablos, which means it separates. It's also called the devil. So symbols mediate on multiple levels of consciousness. And the symbol for the sun in astrology is a circle representing spirit with a dot in the center, which is spirit manifest, also in visible form. So the sun has limitless potential. And how do we know this? Because when we look at a circle, how do we find the area of a circle? Its radius, it's the pi times the radius squared. What is pi? 3.4 and then to infinity. It has no definition. You can't define pi. Therefore, you cannot define the self, which is represented by the sun, and we are all limitless potential, just like us as an individual, just like the sun in our solar system, and most especially the central sun in the center of the galaxy. When you ask a person to identify themselves, where do they point to? Who, me? What's my name? You automatically, intuitively point to your heart, because it's the heart is what gives us life and sustenance in our physical body. When our heart is stops beating, we are dead. We die. And just like the sun in our solar system gives us life and breath every day, and it's the central sun that gives our sun that life and breath. So let's look at, we'll explore the central sun a little bit more. So the central sun, we are essentially passing through the cosmic womb, I love to say. Isn't that beautiful? Cosmic womb. And the central sun is the void. We are entering the void. We are returning to the mothership. And what happens in the void, again, is pure, unlimited potential. So sit in the vastness of that, in the center of our Milky Way. Look at a picture of our Milky Way the next time when you go home. Download a picture, print it out, and have that around you for the next 9 days. So pure potential in the void. So you can go here, and this is the time we all get an upgrade. We can expand our awareness. We can do whatever we want in that void. Now, I have a few tips on what to do, because this is the world's biggest shopping mall ever, with anything and everything that you could think of. You don't go into a store and buy the first bright and shiny thing and then leave, do you? No, I don't recommend that. And I don't recommend all the people that they always interview on Christmas Eve, going to the store last minute, that's when they do all their shopping. That doesn't give you a lot of appreciation and thoughtfulness of what you're doing. So this portal is open beginning today and through the solstice on the 21st. So take your time. I highly recommend that you explore that potential of the void. With the concept of how do we end things, and the importance of how we end things, and what do we want to begin. This is all new beginnings and endings. What tools can we go, what tools do you need in your life to help you end something? There's so much going on. How do you ride the waves right now? It's very chaotic. And I like to say it's not how high you fly right now, it's how you handle the turbulence. Okay? So what do you need right now in your life to help you with that turbulence? Go here, explore, try on different things. You have time before you make your final decisions. So that is the central sun, the great central sun, our cosmic mother, the cosmic womb. So the galactic center is located, obviously, in the center of our Milky Way. The galactic center is, I believe it's Sagittarius. It's called Sagittarius A star, and in the center of of our galaxy is believed to be a supermassive black hole. It's about 25,000 light years away. And I wanted to say one more thing too about our central sun. Just like, so in order to, again, understand the vastness, because we really need to understand the expansion of things in order to bring it down again to that micro level. So our sun has 9 planets that orbits around it. Our central sun has 200 billion suns that orbit around it. That's massive. So in astrology, so we have this black hole in the center of the galaxy. In astrology, we mark the center of the galaxy at 27 degrees Sagittarius. It's a really important point. And especially when you have, especially when the outer planets cross over this point, it's really pivotal to what happens on the planet Earth here. People that are born with this degree in their chart have been known to be whistleblowers because they want to expand our consciousness and awareness. It has a lot to do with technology as well. Currently in the sky, the planet Saturn, and I have little nicknames for my planets. And Saturn, I usually, Saturn is the planet of karma, and I like to call him Grumpy Grandpa. And because he's the planet of cold hard reality and structure in our foundation. But he, to me, is also the elder because of the wisdom that Saturn brings. And for the elder and for the grumpy grandpa, it's like I look at my parents, who are grandparents, and they would do anything for my nieces and nephews, but they can't impose on them. But the minute that, my niece comes up, oh, grandma, grandpa, will you help me with, X, Y, and Z or whatever, they will share their knowledge, they will share their wisdom, they will share their resources. So Saturn is, Saturn will help us with whatever we need to do. And usually when we're struggling with something, it's something more along the mundane. So if we just ask for the help, there's no sense in beating your head against the wall when the wheel has already been created. So Saturn in the sign of Sagittarius represents responsible optimism. There's a lot I could say about that, but just to kind of break it down, it represents responsible optimism. And times in our past history, because astrology is very cyclical with patterns of what's gone on in the past. And in the past, when Saturn has crossed over this point that it's at right now in the sky at the galactic center, in 1781, the planet Uranus was discovered. And overnight, literally overnight, our universe doubled. Can you imagine being at that moment in time when everything that you knew doubled in size? That's how expansive it is. Other times in the past, it's been associated with the crash on Wall Street. Another time was when we had the Hubble telescope. So it's mostly about our expansion of consciousness. And in the sign of Sagittarius, that's where we get the word sage from. Sagittarians they make great gypsies and students and philosophers. But what they want to do is they love to learn, share, and understand other people's religions, philosophies, morals, and ethics. And it's through all their travels that they go and share that information. They want to help expand minds and bring that back all together. The planet Mercury of communication is also sitting at this point as well. So Mercury is the planet of communications, kind of how we think and process information. And it's also in Sagittarius. So this makes for great inspirational speakers, or you can come across kind of preachy. And it's kind of self-righteous on the low side of it. But because it's retrograde during this time, we're going to have more time to explore what's going on in this void. And it went retrograde, for people who need to know the details, it went retrograde on the full moon on December 3rd. It'll go direct on December 22nd. And so again, it's going to just help us be able to actually really integrate more and process what's going on. And then another aspect that is happening in the sky right now is Venus is also in the sign of Sagittarius, not quite at the galactic center yet. It'll be there on January 8th, but is squaring off with the planet Neptune. And which is also, Neptune is the symbol for the reverse peace sign too. Neptune represents universal oneness and love, and Venus is our personal love. So it's about personal love versus universal love. And for that, I kind of need to tell a story, what personal love versus universal love is about, is the difference between my will and thy will. So to tell the story, I need to go back to December of 2015 when I first came to my first Star Knowledge conference up in Estes Park, which was brutally cold and snowy. And that was the beginning of my journey with my spirit guides. I was guided by spirit to travel the medicine wheel via Chaco Canyon and attending each the winter and summer solstices as well as the spring and winter equinoxes. So I was asked to travel the medicine wheel for a year, which is pretty intense, to say the least. But it was here at the Star Knowledge where it was the fabulous catalyst to help propel me with the right people and the information and the awareness. So once you attend one of these events, your life will never be the same. So I was a good student, and I went to Chaco Canyon for my 4 cardinal directions, and had my personal experiences with that. And then it was to end in a culmination trip to Mongolia and spending a week in the Western Steppes with the eagle hunters, the golden, they hunt with the beautiful golden eagles on their arms in the middle of nowhere. So that was so on October 1st of 2016 last year, I was kind of kicked out of my home. I did not want to leave. I loved my hobbit hole. It was very warm and comforting and very grounding. And then I got the boot, you know where, it was time to get out and fly. And when it comes to how do we end things and begin things, this was not a pretty ending. It was the ugliest cry, the big sobs and the snot running down your nose. It was not a pretty ending at all. I was not ready or quite willing to be kicked out of my comfort zone and go fly just yet. But the big lesson that I was asked, and they're still schooling me on, thank you, is it's not my will, but thy will. When I'm a healer, when I'm doing my work, I am totally at one and in the flow of what needs to happen with source, with spirit, and trusting all of that. I'd step out of my office, check in, okay, what do I need to do? And then I was gonna go do it myself because I am fiercely independent and I have been for a very long time. And they said, no, you cannot do that anymore. It's not your will, but ours. You're going to incorporate on your day-to-day life what you do in your healing work. And it's like, oh, shit. And the fight, and the struggle, and the learning to surrender, and the learning to trust was huge. Oh my God. So what I had to do was on October 1st of last year, I put everything, because I'm like, okay, guys, where do I go? What do I do? Nothing. I got crickets. I'm like, are you serious? You're giving me crickets? I still have to figure out if I'm going to Mongolia. So I put all my shit in storage, and I have been a nomad ever since. You really learn what's important when you can only pack something in a 21-inch suitcase and a backpack. You learn to go where you are called, and you know where you need to go. So, and this goes to, and it's crazy times. I mean, the energy that we're working in right now is you think you're going crazy because you're getting these hits of understanding and expansion. It's like, I don't know why, but for some reason they want to send this short, stocky Italian to Mongolia to go hang out in this patriarchal society and ride the horses that Genghis Khan rode. And it's like, am I going crazy? And then you have good friends that tell you, no, Jill, this is what you're supposed to do. So if you think you're going crazy, check in with your friends, because chances are you're not going crazy. You know how I know this? Because you're asking yourself, am I crazy? The people who don't ask this are the people that are crazy. Does a narcissist ever stop and ask, am I a narcissist? It doesn't work that way. So I was blessed and was able to go to Mongolia, joined by Kuan Yin the entire time, and it was absolutely fabulous. Had an amazing time, was doing a lot of dangerous things, for sure, but I never felt in danger because that was my purpose. That was I needed to be there for whatever reason in the physical there. And then I get board the plane to come home, and there was a 12-hour flight from Beijing to LA. And at that point, my kind of the energy flow seemed to kind of start to wane. And I get on the plane, and I am in the very last seat on this jet flying home. I'm in seat 64, 65. And have you guys ever ridden in the back of the plane? Well, I got that for 12 hours. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, good Lord. I'm like, what am I going to do? And then Kuan Yin, quote unquote, tells me, girl, this is how you ride the tail of a dragon. So it was turbulent, to say the least. But how do we hold ourselves in this turbulence? Going back to the astrology of all of this, is I could go on and on about the aspect and what's going on, but to kind of start to sum things up here, I'm not sure how I'm doing on time. The change and the chaos that we are experiencing is actually a growth. It's not an ending. This is actually a growth process that we're in. Now, granted, it might feel like the baby's breech and the umbilical cord is wrapped around it at times. Labor is a very intense process, but we will get through this. So how do you manage these chaotic states? How do you manage saying goodbye to the third dimension? And it's really straddling. We're becoming more interdimensional. And people here, we can have these conversations in here, because we don't think we're crazy. We know we're not crazy. But so it's learning how to manage that multidimensional awareness, that expansiveness. But still, we have to, be present in our everyday life and bring that here. And there might be times where, it's just a smile. Somebody on the street, just being by somebody. You trust wherever you are bringing your light. Know where you need to go. Know where you're being led. I was having a conversation with Trinity. She's very nomadic. People, everyone here knows our piece of the puzzle. We know what we're supposed to do. The other thing what we'd like to say about the changes that are going on is, have you guys seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster? Okay, so in the end of the movie, when she is in the spacecraft and going through the wormhole, she's sitting in the chair that they put in, and she's like, well, no, that's not the specs, right? So she's sitting in the chair, and they have all full harness through the wormhole, and then her necklace floats off. And so she unhooks, and then after that, she's able to enjoy the ride. They were trying to put 3D technology, 3D understanding in 5D. It doesn't translate. It's going to be an extremely bumpy ride. Manage both ends. And then the last comment I would like to make with all of the changes going on, how do we end something, how do we begin something, is I think twofold. What has helped me tremendously is curiosity. Stay in a state of curiosity, because when we are curious, we have no expectations. We can allow to come through what needs to come through. Because if we try and force it, I try and force my will, it's like, this is how it should be. No, check in. It's like, oh, there's a big difference. And so be curious and expect miracles, because they happen all the time. And the combination of those two will help keep you in your alignment. And I think that's all that that we need to share for the moment. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you can take away something that is useful in your life right now. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Another round of applause for Jill, please. How's everybody doing?
Wow.
Awake? Everyone's awake? So you can pull out your phone, let's all tone to the key of A for a minute. Get it going back up. So your guitar.
Where is it?
Do just a little tone. We have a couple minutes before we're going to bring granddaughter Crow up here, but we finished just a little bit early, so we'll do a quick toning and then we can drum in granddaughter Crow. Don't leave though.
Don't leave. Oh, no, you're fine. You know, about things. I was like, oh, why is it gone? Because you know, I just watch this.
Let's like twice in just. Maybe you did that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Please, everybody. So he brought up a really good point a while back of that we watched this thing on YouTube where this he's a music professor, but they started realizing that the key of A can shatter cancer. And so it's played at a certain, all cancer cells, and we watched it where it actually shatters it, so they're trying to get funding and different things like that. So it came from Ella Fitzgerald singing in the key of A, and then it shattered glass, and so that's where they came up with the idea. So whenever we sing in the key of A, it helps to reset all of us. So let's do a quick tone and
Travis.
Looks like it's locked. Awesome. So you can feel how the vibration shifts through your body and how each key works with the chakras. So the A works with the intuition, in case you didn't know that. So opening our pineal glands to be able to continue to receive. We have a lot of information coming in, and we all get lifted up to this point where it's like mind equals blown. But we'll be processing for a while, and just a reminder to accept everything that comes in and not having the urgency to figure it all out now, because when we're constantly in that state or in that state of ambition of like keep going, we miss out on everything we're experiencing right now. And ultimately all we have is right here, right now. So letting go of constantly getting to the top and figuring everything out, it's just really absorbing all of this amazing wisdom coming in and experiencing the confirmations and the clarity that we're all experiencing as well. And just another reminder for all the awesome vendors. And we've got lots of smelly good stuff, different oils. I just created an 1111 elixir at 1212, a 1313, and a 6666. That is 1111 plus 1212 plus 1313 equals 6666, which equals 24, which equals 6. So when you inhale something, it's within every cell of your body in 20 seconds. And Garrett's oils, olive gales, all the sprays, everything that we have in here is all here to help uplift you and take you different places. Garrett's oils definitely shoot you out far. It's really, really awesome. Yeah. No, don't listen to me. Just experience it. Okay. How about that? Yeah. Are we going to do Yes, please. So I'll go ahead and give the intro to Granddaughter Pro. So she's going to be speaking today about weaving the head and the heart. She is internationally recognized as a medicine woman. She was born an empath and medium and comes from a long lineage of spiritual leaders and esoteric wisdom. She is an amazing, amazing psychic, intuitive, mentor, energy worker. She does everything. The first psychic reading I ever had in my life was with her before I really knew who she was 6 years ago. And everything was true, dead on, really, really amazing and powerful. And she's taught several classes in several different places. She's offering readings at ISIS Bookstore, which is over off of Broadway. It's one of the oldest metaphysical stores in Colorado, if not the oldest metaphysical store in Colorado. I went there when I was 15 and came to visit Denver. I told my sister to take me to one of those places, like on that movie, The Craft. That's where we went, and I'll never forget it. And so she's really, really amazing. Everything she speaks is completely from the heart and just extremely powerful. And she has a lot of profound wisdom, and we can all learn a lot from her. So we're going to jump in with the grandmother song for Granddaughter
Awesome. We stand in sacred space. We live in sacred times. When we recognize this, I bet that the molecules within the air vibrate at a higher level. So if in fact this is true, which my spirit tells me that it is, it means that you are breathing in holiness into your holiness, and you can exhale and relax. I love you. I love you. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. We are all sacred. It is a time of remembering. Remembering. Yes, remembering. But remembering. The members coming back. back together to vibrate in that vibration that we were talking about. We are remembering. This is a holy time. So it is limitless how big and expansive our spirits are. So I will break it down into 4 basic bodies of existence. There is a school of thought that Leonardo da Vinci and the Vitruvian Man, you know that one? Yeah? About dimensions or pi or whatever it is that he's talking about. Really intelligent stuff that I'm sure that Shirley knows all about. And I can just empath it and go, oh, now I get it, but I walk away and I'm like, huh, I gotta remember that part. So nevertheless, there's a school of thought that this picture, now I'm not sure if Leonardo da Vinci decided to do this, but there's a school of thought that he, in this picture, depicts the 4 bodies of existence. So Granddaughter Crow, what are the 4 bodies of existence, you ask? Well, it's easy. Physical body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. Now, a lot of times in this day and age, we think to ourselves, well, I live in a physical body. I have emotions, and I think probably too much. We start separating ourselves. But when we put the word physical body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, well, what do bodies need? Food, rest, exercise. Sometimes we're even living in a time when people in our past have told us to deny emotions and quit thinking that, all of this kind of stuff. It's really kind of strange, but when you realize that we are a body, so how is this depicted within Leonardo's Vitruvian Man? Well, the first one, physical body, is depicted by this man standing like this, right? The 4 points too. The emotional body is when you see the one that goes like this. And you can remember that because he looks like he's in motion, right? See the emotional body. The mental body is depicted by that square that goes around these. Think about this, or it's like, think outside the box. Maybe there really is a box. I don't know, don't ask me about that. I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, there was a box that I was supposed to be thinking about. Nevertheless, what happens after that is this circle. The beautiful circle represents the spiritual body of existence. So this is a school of thought. These are lenses. You can put them on when you want to perceive the world in this way. It's a model. It's a system of thinking. You can take them off and you're like, I got a smudge on that one, right? Put them back on. So it's up to you. It's up to you. So nevertheless, what if we were to remember these bodies and have all of them say yes? What if we were to check in with all of these? So they call me Granddaughter Crow. I am born to the Billigama clan for the Taachini clan, which means I am a member of the Navajo Nation, 50%, as well as Dutch heritage, 50%. So yes, there's cowboys and Indians going on up in here, right? I have to say that I am of the tribe of the human form right now. We are all one, the circle, complete. No head, no tail. We all have something to share. We are all authentic. We are all unique. And this is what I am here to do, not just today, but in this lifetime. I am here. My purpose is pretty clear ever since I was little. I have all these titles, and I love Bobby Joe for all of that, and I am honored. I wish I could give each of you those types of honorings too, and I hope by the end of this I do. But there's only 2 things really, well, 3 things I do. Love. Gotta love, right? 2, I am here to encourage and inspire the authentic nature of the divine itself to rise within each of you. I loved it. There was saying no more blame. Do you know why? Because blame and shame does this. Puts you in an internal incarcerated state. That's what shame and blame does. And then let's say you go through healing. Has anybody been through healing? Because I've been through a lot of healing. And they open the door, but you're institutionalized within this thinking that you have to shame or blame something. Shame is internal blame. And then blaming is external. This isn't mine. Well, that's not a circle, right? That's not a circle of the spirit. So even when the door is open, we have to step out of it. We have to choose to step out of it. So that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. We all know how to work. Just step out of it. And when those programs come back, just be like, oh yeah, I forgot. That part you can't forget. You remember a lot, but forget the shame and blame. Nevertheless, so how do we remember these? I'll tell you a story. I once was a single mother. So I'm supporting the household on my own. So I have my full-time job. Of course, I'm advancing in my schooling because that's what my spirit is. Curiosity, yes, curiosity. Approach life with curiosity, then you release assumptions. That's the key. Just be curious. Be like, well, I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on today. So then, let's see. So I was in school. I was working. Single mom, so that's a full-time job. It's a full-time job even if you have a partner, right? Hail the mothers, right? And I think I was doing martial arts, right? Be strong and balanced, right? So I'm going through my life. And my father, the full-blood Navajo Indian, Native American, English is his second language. I would like to honor my father in this moment. He still is walking on earth, and well, partially. He's always been 1 foot in each realm. And he came up from the Navajo Res to see me because I was graduating from one of the programs. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, Dad. I call him Dad. Reverend Jackson Yazzie. I said, I have so many hats, and I jump into so many circles, and I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do that. I am so complex and compartmentalized. I thought he would be proud of me. And he just says like this, oh, I have one hat, and I wear it everywhere that I go. And at that time, let's be honest, I was like, that's kind of simple. He can't understand me, right?
Who has one when you have
Yeah. So then I was going through life and going through life and going through life. And I sat down. I started feeling thin, fractured, and compartmentalized. And so I was like, oh boy. So I go up to my older brother. Once in a while, he actually has something wise to say. For those older brothers out there, little sisters, not always listen. I said to him, I feel thin and fractured and exhausted. And he said to me, oh, little sister, have you ever heard of a Stradivarius? I'm like, a Stradivarius? He's like, a Stradivarius. They are a most beautiful violin. They can never be replicated. They cannot be duplicated. And they play the most beautiful music in the world. And I looked into it a little bit, and I was like, wow. I went for like $16 million for one violin, right? Beautiful. And so he's like, so Stradivarius, what? And I'm like, well, I wanted to talk about me, about this. I know you love music and music theory, but okay, you're my big brother, I'll listen. So nevertheless, he says like this, what kind of music would it play if you were to have the strings over here, the body over here, the bow over here, and those little tuning knobs over here? I'm sure they have a technical name. Prongs or pegs? I don't know. We'll Google it. So nevertheless, what happens is I was like, well, it wouldn't play any music at all. And he's like, precisely. Little sister, you are a Stradivarius. You cannot be duplicated. You cannot be replicated. But you need to assemble yourself. You need to bring yourself back together so that you can play the music everywhere you go. See, at that time, although I was taking martial arts, I was not bringing in the concepts and the theories of balance into work, into school. Although I was taking business classes, believe it or not, I wasn't even bringing that wisdom to work in the business world. I was that separated. I saw these as different hats that I was wearing. And it dawned on me, oh, that's what Reverend Jackson Yazzie meant when he said he wears one hat and wears it everywhere he goes. Because then he can play the music, the own authentic music. Well, of course, I'm sensitive, so I had to cry when my brother told me that I'm Stradivarius. I'm like, you must be. But what I'm saying, what I'm suggesting, is that you too are a Stradivarius. Nobody can replicate you. If your unique tonation isn't here, we've missed something. We need to play as this orchestra. Now, if you don't want to be a Stradivarius, you can be a baby grand piano, that's fine. Or you could be a drum. You know what's so beautiful about the drum? It connects our hearts to beat in the same rhythm. Same sound that we heard when we were in the womb of mother. Life. It calms us down. So thank you for the drum, and thank you to the drummers. Thank you for your heartbeat, right? This is an instrument. I am an instrument. If you want to claim it, you could be an instrument too. But see, here's the deal. Instruments don't speak English. That's their second language. Spirits doesn't speak. English is not spirit's first language. It's not. Vibration is. Absolutely. The words that we formulate from that in order to communicate with each other, that's a human agreement. But the words, I loved what was said today, the words and the tone and the vibration that we bring assimilates us because music speaks universally. And so do we. If we are assembled. And you cannot assemble yourself if there is blame and shame. So, get that out of it. There are two fun words. Yes, and then that other word. That's the opposite. You know it. Oops, I said. No, that was me. Nevertheless, you can ask Spirit, and Spirit will answer you. Spirit. I'll share my sorry. I will. So nevertheless, what does it look like to assemble? Well, has your body ever been somewhere at like work or whatever you want to call that four-letter word? is somewhere else, right? And your spirit is like, whoa, you're so fractured right now, you can't even hear me because you have split apart. Well, now's the time to remember so we can hear. I am that. I am. We can hear it. Even if it doesn't speak English. We need to translate we need to translate the vibration into words so that our whole brain can understand it. So we have two hemispheres in our brain, right? And one is the right hemisphere, and it controls the left side of the body. The other one is the left hemisphere, and it controls the right side of the body. And so what happens is the right hemisphere talks in sounds and symbols and dreams and impressions, intuition. One thing I didn't say is English. It does not speak English. The left hemisphere, though, loves language, system, logic, connections. This is good because it makes us up. However, I believe that we live in a left brain dominant society. We cannot explain always, and if it doesn't make logical sense at first, then we kick it out. If it doesn't speak English, we kick it out, right? This is silly. You know why? Because even if English is the only language that you speak, it is not your first language either. Now, how could I be so bold? Well, I stand on the shoulders of a book called Louder Than Words, Alton Barber. I had to read it in a communications class. It's probably written in 76, but I don't think it's in print anymore. But you can Google Louder Than Words, Alton Barber, and it'll give you a summary of what I'm about ready to share. In this book, this scientific mind said only 7% of our communication is in word. Now that's 7% out of 100, right? So we still got 93%. Correct. Hi, sweetie. Thank you. I guess I needed a hug. That's our future right there. That's our future. Playful future. See, he was curious. So nevertheless, what happens is, like, there's a certain percentage, maybe 38% is in tone. 38% in tone, pitch, the musical side. 38 versus 7, right? And tonation also has to do with those sounds of the words, right? The sounds of the words. And then what happens is there's like 50 some odd, whatever, I don't have my calculator. The rest, which is over 50%, is in our body language and how we're standing. You know how cats do that? They don't have to tell you, I'm trying to be big. They just do that, you know. You can tell when you should approach a wolf and when you should not, right? They don't have to speak English. You know what else doesn't have to speak English? Is like trees don't have to speak English. But they do speak volumes. They have a root system. And then they stand up like this, and then they stretch out to the stars. As above, so below. What if I was a tree? What if you are a tree? What if we are a tree? I know I speak in weird words. I blame my novice side, right? So if I say something backwards, just go, oh, she doesn't speak English. So nevertheless, what happens is we think in words, and unless we can put the words around it, we think that we don't have consciousness. But that's kind of funny because
Not only was it brought up today that we only of our brain, I don't know if it's like 5 or 10 or 15 or whatever, but so there's all this consciousness going on. The pineal gland, all this consciousness going on. Not only up in here, we have neurons. We have neurons in our gut that actually think faster than the ones in our brain. That's what I heard. Last time I Googled it, that was correct. I don't know if they changed it. So if you watch this in the future and they changed it, then I just 2017, December, that's where we're at. I have a feeling they're going to change it. So your gut responds faster than your brain, but it doesn't speak English. But I'm going to ask you to listen to it because it picks up the vibration of what's going on. People may not remember what you say, but they will remember how you make them feel. Neurons in your heart. This is why we keep them open, because there's intelligence right there. And then the whatever, because now we have the left hemisphere, so the 5% of our brain that speaks English, we need to kind of puts it in a little perspective. Huh? Now, it was said today, I love listening to everybody, you know, who's here and out there. You guys are amazing. The longest, hardest road to travel is 13 inches. But the deal is just because it doesn't speak English doesn't mean that it's not speaking volumes. You know it. You've been in a situation, I'm sure I have, where you're like, you're telling me one thing, but I'm feeling something totally opposite. Here's a good explanation of that, or a good thing of that. I'll just use the word thing. Example. Thank you. Somebody's channeling me. Here's a good example of that. Is if you go, oh, Granddaughter Crow, do you want to go home now? I'm like, yeah. I'd love to. Right? You know that I don't want to go home right now. I want to stay here with you guys. Right? Because only 7% of what I communicated you actually knew. So a lot of times people are like, Granddaughter Crow, how is it that you can talk to the crows? I'm like, oh, because they don't speak English. And I realized I don't either. Right? You know, when they're sitting there, they're sitting there. And when they're flying, it's like, oh, you better move. Right? It's pretty simple. Don't overthink it. I love the spider. One thing that I have learned about the spider is that it is a weaver. It is a creator. Beautiful. Well, doesn't it create every single day a web? It is not codependent on the web that it created yesterday. Because that may have gotten flown into by a bird or something and destroyed. It doesn't sit there and go, oh, everything's destroyed. No, it says, oh, cool, I'm the creator. I will create the pattern and the vibe that comes within. Now, wouldn't it be cool to be able to create from the 4 bodies of existence? Physically, you've got your emotions in it, you've got your mind in it, you've got your spirit in it. Now, what kind of a beautiful web would that be? The kind that you don't get caught up in, right? There is a web in some lore that connects us all. So when you think about it, what if this strand from my heart to yours and then pinging off of yours and going into yours, and this is the beauty, and we all sit not with a head or a tail, but in a circle. And every single one of us is exactly important, just like every single one of us, other one is. I don't speak English. So we're all equal, but we're all authentic. I want to know you. I want to see how the divine is expressing itself in you. And if I am honest enough in my own circle, I will realize that all of you, there's an aspect of me there too. Your incarcerated self, I might have that too, right? So then we go, oh, how do we get ourselves out? Oh yeah, the door is unlocked. Step on through to the other side, right? Bobby Joe's gonna sing us a song. No, I'm just kidding. So nevertheless, what does this look like? How do we do this? Give me an example. It's much like falling in love. When you fall in love, your body, physical, wants to be around that person. They're so warm. You know? Your emotions want to know what this other person is feeling, right? How do you feel about that? What's your favorite color? How do you like this? You like the food? What do you think? You want to get to know them. Emotionally, you're just like, oh. At least I do. Your mind thinks, oh, I wonder what they think about this. I wonder what ideas they have. Your spirit is like, you found the ray, my sunshine. All of those are saying yes. All of those, my body says yes. My emotions say yes. My mind says yes. My spirit says yes. And that is when I am assembled. My head and my heart are together. And I step forward. The other word that's opposite of yes, and sorry to the empaths, no. I don't like that word. This is what no feels like. No feels like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to talk to the person. No. So we need to move forward if we want to, right? Unless you're a hummingbird, because there's time to go down. But nevertheless, so just kind of follow. Fill in the blanks if it don't make sense with your own words. I'm going to ask you to stand up for just 1 second. You don't have to do anything except for engage the granddaughter crow. There is a theory. Have you guys ever heard of a pendulum? That kind of, yes, give me a no, give me a yes. That wisdom, we are a pendulum in a certain way. We're a pendulum. So stand with your feet about hip width, shoulder width apart, kind of relax. We're going to do some karate. No, I'm just kidding. So stand here like this. When you speak a truth, your body will slightly lean forward. When you speak a lie, your body will move backwards. So I'm going to ask you, speak a truth. Maybe it's like, my name is Granddaughter Crow. So speak something, see what happens in your body. Now I'm going to ask you to speak a falsity. Something that doesn't have to be really harsh or anything. Just be like, Granddaughter Crow is a boy. Make it light. Can anybody feel that movement? It's ever so slight. This is our neurons within our physical body and within our own emotions and within our own heart telling us when there is a yes. Now with your decisions, move forward in the yes. If there is something, there's not just yes and no. If there is a decision in front of you, check in with your 4 bodies of existence. You guys can shake it off and sit down, get comfortable. Feedback, did you guys feel it? See, this is the funny thing. Sometimes like spiritual people will go to the fruit and vegetable section and they'll take their pendulum and then they'll go like this over the fruit. boots. This is a more disguised way of being able to do that. People will start thinking you're drunk. Look at this stuff, go like that. So I don't know my timing. How are we doing on time?
Doing good.
Doing good?
10 minutes, right?
Good. So let's see here. So that's how we assemble. When we pay attention to each of the bodies of existence as though they have equal respect, we reassemble the Stradivarius. This is when I decided to start wearing pigtails to work. Part of who I am. These are my clothes. These are not costumes, right? I started assembling. I wear one hat. I have different styles of them though, but metaphorically, I'm always granddaughter Crow, right? Except for when I go home, then I'm Joy Gray. So if you want to friend me on Facebook, it's Joy Gray. And then, so nevertheless, because I'd love to stay in contact with all of you. So this is where we say yes. This is what helps us step out of shame and blame. This is what helps us to understand that we are all connected. And when you ping that web, it comes back. Ping the high vibrations, right? If I'm talking with you, and then all of a sudden somebody gives me $5, you know? It's that energy exchange. Step out of the box. Step into the circle, right? Step into the circle. Weave ourselves together. Check in with your bodies every single day. People come to see me sometimes. They ask me about decisions, and I gotta pull the answer out of them because they know. If you are sitting there and you're like, well, I have to keep my job. I can't live my sole purpose. It's like, which one of your bodies is telling, which body is telling you that? And what recording did it download? Because that's natural, right? We're supposed to exist. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be a vibration. Well, not supposed to. You get to. So nevertheless, I love each of you. And I love all of us. May we understand this unity and bring this vibration, if not in words, in tones, in the way that you carry yourself throughout the world. Carry yourself as though you are truly what you are, even if your left brain doesn't understand it, right? So thank you very much. I'm going to take the last 2 seconds to let you know a little bit about the Eagle Heart Foundation organization. It is two-pronged. It has an educational side to bring native wisdom to non-natives. Because the truth is, as far as I see it, we are one tribe. And it brings charitable contributions to those in need. So whether it is that you would like to give, or whether it is you would like to receive, pull a card. We're starting to, Eagle is starting to grow a little bit, right? Its wings. Oh, those are crow wings. I almost lost my feather. So nevertheless, please stay in contact with us, because maybe you'll be going down your road and you'll find somebody in need and you can send them in through the web, however it goes. So from my heart, drumbeat to your heart, I love you. I'm honored to be in your presence, and namaste. Keep it going.
We're going to take just a little bit of a break. The people who work here, they have to make a little delivery, so it's not making too much noise. I got to bring down some kegs. Is Heather still back there? Heather, do you want to holler at Cody and tell him they can go ahead and bring that down? Please, so if you guys can go to the bathroom or you want to check out some of the vendor booths or go check out the Eagle Heart Foundation, I'll yell. It's time to start. Next up, we will have Shakara Tosha, and she'll be doing some amazing light language, so don't go too far.
Recently on the chair, let's do this way.
All right. Hello. If everybody please take your seat. We are going to move forward with our next beautiful, amazing speaker who is able to make their last minute. I'm just using the microphone.
All right, if everybody can please take your seats. Microphones are
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Come on. You go like this.
Test 1, 2. There, it's working. It's me. The microphone doesn't help me. Like I love the microphone. Huh? All right. So next up we have Shakara Tosha. She is going to be bringing in some of her amazing light language. She has come a long way. She used to work in the corporate world. And there's a lot of stories like that with a bunch of people here who have, worked for the man, done all the stuff that we thought we were supposed to do, and then had our spiritual awakening and realized that that's not what we were supposed to do, and that we have a higher mission, greater purpose. And she's really, really amazing. Every time she speaks, it's very powerful. She brings in a lot of messages from Bigfoot, the Arcturians. That was my first connection with her. We both have the Eye of Horus tattoo. Hers is the right eye, and hers is the left. So we'll go ahead and just get her up here so she can do her thing. So if everybody could please give a round of applause for Shakara Tosha.
name is Bichake Toshawa Taylor. She's a beautiful violet star woman. She received from my brother, Chief Code Lady. And about 4 months ago, the star people gave me the name Shakara Tosha. Like this, I will walk through. About a month ago, the star people came to me and they said, leave your house and leave everything and walk on the land. And I know many of us are doing that. Many of us have talked about this, but it's about being free and being fully yourself. So, I have a short period of time. I want to share a couple of things. I speak light language. These are some of my paintings and scripts and energy frequency signatures that I do, and I can tell you about that at the end. You see it on my website, but I really came here to share a message for you. So, I'm so grateful for Jen and Eagle and Bobby Joe just giving me a moment to come and share this, and for all the work that they do to support the Chief and all the messages that everyone shares. And for all the speakers that are here, it's really about all of us. So even though you're in the audience, everyone has a message, everyone has a voice, everyone has information. So I love my star family. And for those of you who have never seen me, it's good to see you again. We've all come back together. See, each of us are holding codes and working with codes. You may not know it, or you may have had the big awakening. I did when I was a child. I was fully conscious. I saw little Arcturian people. They said, we're tiny, but we're mighty. You know? No matter how many people come to be around you when you share your message, it doesn't matter. This room is full of very many people. As you know, you're bringing your ancestors and your guardians and your guides and shapeshifters. And we've got all the plans here. So many people said so many incredible things. And we all have pieces for each other. You know, Shirley mentioned something, other people mentioned something. We trigger each other. The thing that I learned so much from Chief is that we carry all these codes of existence. That's why we're dangerous. Or those people in power. But it doesn't matter anymore. You can break out of that. It doesn't matter. So I'm here to share that the star people tell me that this is a time of great change and great abundance. You may see things that are happening in 3D that are falling apart, but it doesn't matter. The more you're tuned in with yourself, with your heart, with your center, with spirit, everything works out. I promise you. I'm living it now. And it's really phenomenal. When you doubt yourself, crap happens. When you say, okay, just show me what I'm supposed to do, but you ask yourself, Chief mentioned you're one of your own guides. You're walking with many, many people. So you already know what to do. You already know exactly what to do. When people say, well, where am I supposed to go next? Or what work am I supposed to do? You're coded with the answer. So this is part of how you break out of the matrix into the creatrix. Okay? So I work with many guides, Sasquatch, Hathors, Arcturians, you know, Isis, elementals, a lot of this divine feminine aspect, Emmanuel. I mean, they all come to me at timelines, time sequences, 222, 333, 444, 555 in the morning. I get downloads. This morning, I was up at 444, which is an Arcturian time code, and they said, say these things. Hours. I have this much material I'm supposed to share with you. So I'm going to do it light language and condensed time, because you know we can bend time. You know, time does not exist. This is why the Mayans said it 2012. We're at the end of time because we are. We make our own time. Many of you know we follow different timelines. We have our own trajectory. There's the Earth, the double Earth, the triple Earth, the three suns. You know, we're all going together and then we break off. You have infinite possibilities of many of you at any point. So if you're going this way, something isn't working out. Realize that you chose this path, your higher self, you're all working together, and you go, okay, why did I create this? What can I do to change this? But usually it's just a lesson, even if you don't know it. When you go into your head and try to figure it out and go backwards, go, okay, thank you, I'll understand this later. I choose to change my focus and go this way. You can change anything quickly because we are out of those time constructs. And most people don't understand this. That's why most people that are out there having that thing that they do, going to work, going to school, going home, paying bills, dealing with dramas, dealing with pain, dealing with sickness, all the things that Bobby Joe and everybody else were talking about. They did not know that this is happening. But you know All of you know, you've been here. We have called each other into existence. So every one of us is related to each other. We're family. And there's more and more. So the sooner these guys show me, the sooner that you guys really understand that you have these abilities. And it's a combination of combining the mission that you came here to do that you're starting to awaken. Some people are like, I don't know, and some people are like, whoa, what just happened? Things are happening very quickly. It'll work itself out. But this, they show me, is the time when you can combine the mission that you came to do, carpenter, artist, waitress, it doesn't matter, whatever your skill set is, with what you love. And the thing that's most important is having fun. So none of this, trauma, stress, distress, none of it matters. You just don't have to play that game anymore. People will be fine, situations will work itself out. But when you raise your vibration, your job on this world could just be to smile. I'm doing my job. Carolyn, you do it all the time. This is what you do. You walk in a room and you smile. It doesn't matter. Everything that everyone was talking about, the dramas, none of that crap matters. Just be happy. Just be happy. So this is also about co-collaborating. These times are about coming together, stimulating each other, stimulating our own understanding. So I want to demonstrate what this looks like because I know you all work together. So I'd like to call two soul brothers of mine up. This is a beautiful brother, Garrett Duncan, my Sasquatch contact brother. We've been to the Sasquatch conference a couple times, and star language speaker. And this is Charles, a beautiful flute player and artist, musician. So it's about celebrating other people, right? We're fine, just promote and energize. So this pipe, this pipe, it is a pipe, and we're a pipe, and this is a pipe. It's all one big tree. Anyway, that's another book. That's I'm actually working on many books right now, but that's for later. This was activated by a Sasquatch energy, right? So the reason I asked them to play together is I would like you to see two people talking star language while we're playing flute, tuned to 432, which is actually, by the way, 444 is the Arcturian time code for those of you that work with that. So we're just gonna say a couple things so you see what this looks like.
Yeah, suco cae de tutores sai suture ya cacae susoas sai sistu.
Mucha kaino wala kaino shama mo ko ko kuiti wala simin no kaino shekiti to simin.
Yeah, so the dai titur dai si ai sigur ai u.
Ni era no kaino shama to simin no wala shekiti.
Yai u yai su yai u yai u yai su yai. Yai u yai su yai u.
Joan, what can you do? What's on it? More. Steven, you was more. No, but you know what? One nesting.
I su yai du I see you. Or yai see you.
Unshimin and what I kind of Washington.
Oriasi.
Unshimi Anasu Ansimura Hana Washa Nusikine, what I kind of Washita, what I think it was shut up, but the king was on Thank you. Little song and dance dinner food. So 3 hours of messages in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So I was guided to share a couple things that are pretty important this time. I speak many languages. Star languages just come. So Sometimes I know who's speaking and sometimes I don't, but this is for you. This is actually you and your guys and your higher self speaking through me. So it's you talking to yourself. Shuma kai no shante to sine. Shimi kitu wala kai. Unsa kai moe na kai to shine. Ni kiko wala kai to shane. Nusa ki no kai to shine no so wala kai to shane. Suma moe na kai to shine. Simi ko wala kai to shine no shane. Osa ki no kai to shine. Sama moe ko wala ki to shane. Usa moe ko wala kai to shine. Simene wala kai to shama mo wala ki. Nusha gemene wala kai to shakite to simene wala kai te. Shime kyo la kai no shante su wala kai. Shime no sakai no shanka mo wala ki no shanki to simene. Simene wala kai. Nusha ki wala kai to shine no simene wala. Shuma ki wala kai. Simi mamo la kai to shane mo sama mo ko teach te. Simi ko la kai to shane. I love you all very much. This is such a deep heart connection because we're finding each other. Shimi no la kai no shan udo sekime no wa shan titi to simi no la kai to shane. So this is the way of the star spider. Many of you work with it. You told me the 12-12. This is about the cosmic web. In the universe, everything is connected. The universe is connected by golden filaments of light and photons that move in and out of all the planetary systems. All the planets sing. Every planet has a note and a tone and a color and a vibration. We have a note and a tone and a color and a vibration. Energetic frequency signature. It's your own galactic signature. It's you and you and you and you and unique to you alone. That is the song that you have to remember. Remember the song. Shuma kai no shan do ziki no kai no shin de ba or little kino shan ke do. What's interesting is these guides work together. So the elementals teach me about the ley lines and the land and how Mother Gaia is rising in vibration. This ascension that we're going through is a combination of many things. There is a blue photonic ether that's coming out of the earth that scientists have actually talked about now. It's electromagnetic. It is changing the frequency. It is releasing this matrix system around the earth. It is stimulating us. That's why you feel like you're vibrating. Your heart palpitating, so you want to sleep all day. And then you want to get up and you want to run up and down a beach 150 times. And then you want to call all your friends and then you want chocolate. And then, oh my God, you know, and then you jump and then you go, oh God. You know, this energy is your body recalibrating its DNA, which are photonics. So your system, as many of you know, many of you learning, many of you relearning, remembering this. That we are carbon beings that are moving to crystal. My friend and I went to the petrified forest and we got to the edge and I said, I think this is going to take a while. So we had to get up here, but we talked to the guy at the store, at the visitor center, and I got so much information and understanding for pieces of my puzzle of understanding how crystalline structures change from solid objects, these stones, these logs that have been floating down here, because this was all, this whole area and all around Arizona, New Mexico, it was all water. The whales came through here and left whale codes for us to find. As Chief said, the petroglyphs, we've been here before. We've made this art for us to remember, for us to come back, put our hand out and go, oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. You know, and then you know, it's an insert. But all of you work with this language of light. Some of you know it, some of you don't. You can cook the language of light. It's a combination of food, tempering, food, taste, energy, music. The more they show me that you layer different artistic forms together, you start stimulating other levels of consciousness. So when I speak light language, all I'm doing is bringing these ancient tongues and these star languages and that kind of thing to you to trigger something in and of yourself. So I'm what I've been told is a creative inspirationalist. I'm doing nothing. I'm channeling it, but I'm conscious. The reason I mention this is because you also channel yourself, your higher self, all your guides, or whatever you need at the time that you need it. So they tell me that success is getting done what you need to get done when you need to get it done. So if you want something to happen, you want to go on a trip, you want to meet a partner, whatever, will it into being, because this is what's happening in this timeline, because there is no time. Okay, that's over. The time difference between cause and effect is almost instantaneous. So they show me, instead of the old 3D systems of visualizing something, imagine as if it's already happening. You know, you want to move to another place. I dreamed Sedona. Sedona called me. The rock said, that's the one I like. And they literally called me. And I heard a tone, and I saw pictures, and I saw myself dancing on the rocks and being there and helping people. And I said, okay, I've had some fun in this lifetime. I'm going to be of service. I came to be of service. I said, take me where I'm supposed to go. You know, and I got there, and I knew that was going to be. I went on Boynton Canyon Rock, and codes came through my feet. And then I was like, another, and then, you know, I got grounded, and I said, there's something really important happening here. But a lot of people don't know. It's the water underneath. There's ancient waters that are flowing under the rock. When they stimulate the rock, something happens. So you mix water, air, earth, sky, ether, and something happens. And it's an alchemical process, but it's almost etheric. It's not even physical at that point. That's what's happening in your body. So when you're bugging out, your heart is going, and all this stuff, you're just going, okay, I'm just getting an upgrade. You know? And it's funny, we're in a group of people that you can talk comfortably with. Getting a download, I feel, you know, here we go, oh, you know, how's this transfer working for you? I have to ask now, when I'm talking to my friends, okay, they're telling me a story, and they say I, and I'm like, is this your higher self, your inner self? Is this a walk-in? Is this a grading? Was this a dream? Was this you over here as your third dimensional person? Like, you know, because we're all just blending all of this stuff. So I'm going to talk about the 13. This white buffalo calf woman came to me in a sweat lodge about 2 years ago, and she showed me a bundle. I said, whoa, I'm not quite ready for that. And then she showed it me again and again, and I accepted it. And she showed me these tools, and she said I can talk about now. I want to tell you, it's safe to come out of your closet, okay? It is safe now. Who cares about the archons and the this and the that and the government and the this and the that? Just go, I don't need you. You have someplace else to be. You have another train to catch. You know? So it's not gonna affect you if you don't allow it. Wherever you tune in is gonna be fine. So when you change your consciousness, when you think about, you decide this. This is part of the ascension, that we came back to be who we want to be, but we have to make a conscious choice. And when we do that, we immediately plug into Gaia, because we've been her. We've been grass and trees and birds and sky and you know, like everything. It's in us. That's why we walk on this land, because it's a similar vibration. So they say what's happening, what other people have talked about, is this Gregorian calendar of this 1260, 12 zodiac signs, 12, you know, systems, 12 days. I'm so out of time now. I don't even know what city I'm in, what month this is. I don't know. But this 13 is so important because it's about the sacred feminine, but it's not women. It's the energy of the feminine and energy of intuition, and these things are coming back. So I was privileged to do these 13 moon cycle sweat lodges When you start syncing up with the moon, everything changes because it affects the water in your body. Right? Most of you know this. It affects. Oh, okay. 1 minute. Okay. Okay. I'll there you go. That's it. One thing is really important. This because this is a spider time, so it's honoring the spider. So this is about reweaving your existence. Like I said, if there's something that isn't fitting for you, just unweave it and reweave it. What's going to happen is people are going to want to know where we're going next. Guess what? You are determining it right now. With your thoughts, with your actions, with your vibration. You will decide your own life. So the higher you, the faster you become aware of this, the faster you can step into it and be helpful, and other people will start to pattern that. And it's the 100th monkey. So all of this is, we're fine. We've actually done it. We've shifted into the 13th dimension as a collective consciousness. So we're in 13. So let's talk 13. Shuma kaino wa shanku tutu wa simi nuru wa la kaino wa shanki tutu wa se. Shuma ni se ko la kaitu wa shama mo ko la kite. Nunu wa kinu wa shama mo ko la kinu wa shante. Nu sakini se wa la kaino wa shante tutu wa simi nuru wa la kaino wa shinkite. I love you all very much. Please come talk to me. Please make a connection with each other because we're all helping each other. I also separately want to mention I'm back here. I'm selling some pictures, some drawings, and some light language sessions. And also at Garrett's space tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:30. I know you're doing something. So, I'll be doing a workshop on light language and activating light language. If you want to come and try that out, it's really fun. It's really fun. We'll do some art and music and sound and share some of these messages. So please contact me, and I would love to speak with you. And I'm also doing light language sessions separately. So thank you very much. Talk to you.
Awesome. Another round of applause. Seems like there's something about like clapping once and clapping twice. I don't know what it is, but we won't question it. Just thank you all for participating in that. I appreciate it greatly. So next up, our next speaker is Jen Berry-Hill, the amazing event coordinator for all of these Star Knowledge events. And her spirit name is Hihato Washdewi. She is a beautiful blue owl woman. She carries a lot of powerful messages. She is a transformational life coach. She helps people do shadow work. She has been a business owner, a paralegal. She's a mother. She wears the one hat, but wears it everywhere she goes and brings it all around. So she's bringing in some powerful, powerful messages today. She just started speaking with these conferences. The last couple conferences, she was kind of in the background, so now she's stepping out and stepping out like that. Yeah. It was a Tony. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Jen Berry-Hill.
where we just come into this beautiful, beautiful place of unity. I mean, can you just feel it?
Oh, yeah.
It's so delicious. And you know, when you leave, you're like, wow, you know, it's so hard to put into words, you know, what you just experienced. People ask you, well, what'd you do? What was that? Where do I start? So I hope you have that same experience today, just leaving with some wisdom, deeper knowings of who you are, and more magic in your day, in your life moving forward. And so it was interesting because we were called to do ceremony here in Golden February 26th of this year. And it was a day of an eclipse. And at that time, we were in the influences of the moon of the whale with the universal law of movement and balance, and the stargate of reverence. And the test was clearing and forgiving. So this was in February. So how many people have had a lot of transition this year? A lot of movement? Yes. A lot of change. And how many are just now coming into a place of landing into something a little more stable, a little more balanced? Big sigh, right? So when we gathered in February, it was an ending, but it was also a beginning. So it was a beginning of this movement and balance, and stepping into this space of reverence, where I feel like we really learned humility with having to face clearing that karma, learning to forgive, right? So since that time, we've also experienced another eclipse, experiencing totality with full coverage of the star, full shadow. So it's brought up a lot of what we've needed to face in ourselves. So I imagine for most of you too, it's been a little hot and spicy. Not really hot and spicy. Right? But yet, I mean, what a gift, because you know, it's like we can run, but we can't hide. So it's like, okay, let's deal with this now. And so just so much is unfolding for all of us. And we're learning so much more about ourselves. And here we are today, 12/12 in Golden, across the street from where we did our first ceremony, which, by the way, the Buffalo Rose is closed, ended. And we're here, you know, we're closing. We're ready to start a new beginning. And what was also interesting is that there was a fire in Golden after that event. So there was like a big purification. So when we're all here doing this together, and this is a ceremony, who knows what's going to happen? But we get the ability to look at it with amazing grace and beauty and say, wow, that really is a purification. It's not destruction and loss. And, oh my gosh. It's truly a beautiful clearing. So my hope is that after today, we can experience that as well. So just be mindful and pay attention to what's happening after we get there today. I'm excited to see what happens next. So here we are. We're in this grandmother's moon right now. And we're in this spiritual law of strength, health, and happiness. And we've opened the stargate. Oh, we're in reverence now. I said that wrong. We were at stargate of knowledge before. But we're in the test of truth and purity right now. And it's to be real and to be who you are. And so I love all of the messages that have been shared today. You know, it's fun to watch how everything kind of just ties together. And you know, we talked about No more blaming, no more externalizing. We're here to really own who we are. We're all showing each other ourselves. You're showing me, I'm showing you. So we're these beautiful mirrors of reflection. And this whole year has been about reflection, showing us who we need to see. And so one of the most powerful things that has shown itself to me a few weeks ago in Sweat Lodge, grandmother spider, star spider, she pulled me into one of her 8 eyes. And in that space, she said, we're in this spider energy, and it's about cutting cords and connecting in healthy ways, creating healthy cords. But when you tap into this new influence of this 12-12 energy and you work with her, the cords actually become crystal cords. And the crystal cord is the cosmic connection. It's the connection to universal consciousness. And so we heard a lot about, we're in this place of absolute possibility. And when we're in that universal consciousness, what isn't possible? And to get there, it takes unity. It is the space of the void. It is the space of oneness. So where it all goes is, wholeness is the bridge to unity. Well, what is wholeness? Wholeness, if we bring it back inside, we're not externalizing anymore. We're owning every aspect of who we are in this 3D physical body. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. And so today is the day of judgment, Tuesday. Universal law of judgment. We're working with rattlesnake. So here we are. We're these 3D beings, and we have this thing that we do where we judge. We're judging creatures. So we're judging things good, bad, right, wrong. We're doing it out here, and we're doing it in here. Judgment is one of the things that keeps us out of unity. It's creating separation. So can we resolve all the judgment and step fully into wholeness and accepting all of who we are and all of who everyone is and all of what is? And step into unity, connect that crystal cord into the universal consciousness. What happens in that space of oneness? We're creating a new reality. One that we don't even know what it looks like. So what an opportunity for endless possibilities. And that's what we do here. That is what we are going to do here today. Because in a few minutes, we're going to start a really, really special ceremony. There's one more thing that did come in. And this feels really important as well, because this is also going to help us in really stepping more fully into that wholeness space. So a few weeks ago, Eagle shared with me that in ceremony, they learned that there's a sun inside the sun. There's another planet in the sun. And it just bowled me over. I was like, I saw it when I was sun dancing. The sun opened up, and inside was this beautiful landscape. And I didn't know what it was, So I've been asking, what is that? So at 11:11, we asked Grandma Chandra, what is the name of the planet inside the sun? And she told us that it's planet Lurkon. And so the message that came in from planet Lurkon is that it is the sun that is going to help us reconnect individually. And working with the sun
as that influence that can help us correct and reestablish and build our connection with the Spirit. Through the spiritual sun and the great central sun, that we're ready. We're ready to step fully naked in front of the mirror and let go of all of our judgment. Owning every aspect of who you are: ugly, pretty, fat, skinny, greedy, generous, jealous, compassionate. We're all of it. And it's time to start judging bad. And it's time to start accepting that, you know what, there are aspects of me that need to come out sometimes. That's bad. We need to know contrast. How can we know the light if we can't? Where's the shadow? We need gray. We need the things in between. This is what helps our soul evolve. And it's all perfect. We're perfect. But we don't see it, we judge it. And so there's a really interesting phenomenon that we do called projection. So anything that we can't be with inside of ourselves, we project it out onto other people. What we can't be with won't let us be. So we will become triggered by somebody that shows us an aspect of ourselves that we don't like. That we judge is wrong with that. So it's like, you know, these try to push a beach ball under the water. What happens? You know, it wants to be seen. It wants to be heard. It wants to say something. So anytime, and I know you guys are probably already doing this, we wouldn't all be here in this room if we weren't doing this to some level, but really taking back our projection. Somebody's triggering me, it's an opportunity for me to go, wow, what kind of person does that? Oh my God, that person's an asshole. How am I an asshole? Okay. Well, there was this time, there are those days, and then, oh yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to see how I like that. So, you know how I take it back? You know how I reclaim that aspect of myself? I find the gift of it, how it serves me. Because sometimes you gotta be an asshole. So the trick is you use it instead of it using you. So if someone's coming up to you and, you know, they're getting in your face, you know, that might be a good time to step up and be an asshole. Just to protect yourself. However it looks, you know. So the sooner we can stop judging these aspects of ourselves as wrong or bad, then, you know, we put this cover plate over this wound. And so anytime somebody else comes along that's acting that way, guess what? They're not plugging into me anymore. And I can look at them and have compassion and hold space for them and operate in a new way where it doesn't knock me down. It doesn't give me this emotional reaction. And I can just move on. So that's the idea, is reclaiming these aspects that we disowned. And that's a really powerful tool, is to see when you're triggered by somebody and saying, how am I like that? And it's a new muscle. We got to exercise, because this isn't normal behavior for us. You know, we don't ever want to be that. But it's so liberating. It's so liberating. We gain that freedom and that peace, and we can just move through life in such a new way, creating unity, because we're whole. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say. Yeah. So we'll talk about this ceremony coming up. Or you can clap. All right, so on to the good stuff. Ceremony. The whole reason we come together at Star Knowledge Conferences is to learn, to grow, and to unlock each other and learn more about ourselves, but also to create change. You know, beautiful. We want to be that miracle, so we're going to create a miracle today. And so we've been working with the spirit. Her name is Wakam Pahomi. And how many have experienced this ceremony before? So we have a lot of new people, which is awesome. And while we're doing this ceremony, it's the women that are on their moon time that are kind of the catalyst to this portal that opens up, that gives Wakampa Omniwi access to come in, and she can literally abolish, obliterate, remove something that's going to happen in the future, remove doubt, remove fear, help us with resolving our karma. I mean, we can just create so much from these ceremonies. And the songs are really important because they're what really set the energy. And it's what pulls all the helpers in and helps unify our hearts. So we're going to be singing some songs on the drum. And I would like to ask any women who are on their moon that feel called to join in the circle. We're going to create a circle up here. They're going to be the ones holding space for these energies and the messages and anything that wants to come in as well as move out to formalize. I would like to ask Chief Woman just to share a little bit about what came in the ceremony, about the focus of today's ceremony, so that we can all be unified with our intention as well as within our hearts as well.
Yeah, this is what we call the ceremony of remembrance. It's part of the 8 ceremonies of this earth. This is a special ceremony because it's more of a liberation of bullshit. It's buffalo. But one of the things was, we went to the age of Piscean ages, the masculine age, so man more or less wanted that power that the women had. Then I started my ceremonial spiritual walk. In that, I had teachers that told me certain things that I didn't like, but I didn't question because they were a lot older than me. And that's the way we're taught. Listen, and if you don't agree with them, keep it to yourself. If they're older, take whatever you feel that belongs to you. But you don't have to go in there and start arguing and start creating this opinion, disrespecting on yourself. So I would hear things, but I would question myself. Because in the beginning, we were taught not to ask a question. Not to ask a question for like 8 years. We just listened to Spirit. Just listen. no question. And after that 8-year walk, then the Spirit said, now you could ask a question. But we didn't know what to ask because all our questions were answered. And now today, when you walk as teachers, somebody asks you a question, they already know the answer. They just want confirmation from what they already know. So as teachers, we just say, well, what do you feel? And they're going to give their own answer. But if you try to take on their karma, you're going to go down. You're going to take on something that you don't expect is going to happen because your ego gets in the way, and you're going to have to pay that price. I, follow me, I. When we talk, when you hear the word I, that's the false prophet syndrome. So when we talk as teachers, make sure that we give credit to our teacher, our spirit guides. It really works really beautiful that way. If a butterfly tells you something, spider or eagle or the wind says something, people love to listen to that. But if you say something, it's questionable. Right? So the ego, but if the ego has they like to see a long way. They have good sight, so they see a long way. The ego only sees the eye, one eye. So take your pick. So we need to speak from right here. And the less eyes you use in your language, the better it is. The better it feels because you're listening. So I listened to my elders, and there was one phrase that come up with women. And it was called Wiawakam. That means the holy woman. The holy woman. And when that phrase come in, it's always with the woman that is in her moon time. But they were shunned and pushed off to the side. Oh, why? In my mind, I said, they say this holy woman, but why does everybody put that woman off to the side, make her feel bad, not wanted, and all that? There's a question I have inside. So I had the opportunity to go to be a part of what they call International Sundance, and we did that a few times up in Shine River. And I stepped back from that and got other people to run that. And we went to another one. We got invited. At the Sundance, I was sitting there with the other chiefs, and I was looking. I noticed there was a teepee. All of you that know Sundance, there was a teepee right on the south side of the entrance. And it seems women standing there in front of the teepee. So I asked one of the chiefs there, what's going on over there? She said, oh, those are our women. They're in their moon time. That's moon camp. Over here, we love our women. We want them to dance with us. And they were standing out in the sun, so he hollered for his helpers. They ran over there and they built a shade for them, put stage down. And there was 2 grandmas with them that were taking care of them. And when the Sundance was going, all the dancers were dancing, the women were dancing. The sun and the moon. Balance. So, and everything was beautiful. Everything was so beautiful to see a change. So we created, and from that walk, from that Sundance, we moved it over into our circle because everything was good. And right after that, my nephew, he's what they call Uipi man. He's a Uipi man, ceremonial man. And you could attest to this, right? We had ceremony at Sweat Lodge, and the spirits grabbed him and threw him into the women. And it was a situation. He was holding on to a thought that he knew she shouldn't be holding on to. And what happened was, before we went into that major ceremony, we had ceremony there, and we went to sweat lodge, and this little girl come in. She says, I have something to say to everyone. Then she left. And then we went into UEP ceremony, and she came in. She said, I went way back in the past, way back. It's all over, searching. And I went way into the future, to look. She said, and I come back here. She said, it's all made up. She said, women in their moon time, when we need them the most, is right now, right here, in ceremony. You got chills?
Oh, yeah.
So that came from this little girl. We heard it in our circle, and I had no issues with it, you know, because I stood up with some of our other men, saying, hey, we love our women. I went to a Sundance over in Pine Ridge area, and I went to a moon camp, and all it was a dilapidated toilet. I'm sitting on top of the prairie with one little car with a 15-year-old girl sitting there. And I went over there and I looked. I woke her up. She was sleeping in her car. I says, this moon camp? She said, yes. I said, so this is what these powerful medicine men are, it's how they're treating our women, our daughters, our nieces, our sisters. It's not right. It made me cry. And it made me angry. Because that's not the way we treat our women, you know, when they're holy, in their holy time. So this woman came with that. She's from a different, she's not from here on Mother Earth. She never is known from any culture, race, or place. She works in a very high vibrational area, and it's beyond the 13th dimensional ways. We as a family here, we're in the 13th dimension, 11th, 12th, and 13th. I know that because under the laws of attraction, I'm working in that, so that means you are as well. Now, what happens is, through ceremony, we have to lift our vibration up, because this vibration attracts this spirit that knows how to move energy. And you could only move and create miracles when you don't have attachments. See? When you have attachments, you're going to be afraid of what people are going to think, what they're going to say. I don't want to say that. They're going to hurt their feelings. No, when the spirit comes in, they move, they know energy, they boom, 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 gone. They just move it however you feel it, because they don't have attachments to our physical being, our physical stupidity sometimes, and the way we think. Not here, but it's up here is where we're having a little issue. So, I always say, if you're crabby, grouchy, grumpy, complaining and bitching and all that, you're in your head. If you're smiling, dancing, singing and all that, you know, you're happy, you're in your heart. So look at each other and just say, hey, get out of here. Now, if you have questions, you're in your head. You're thinking. If you know, you're in your heart. You're in your knowing. That's what Aquarius is about. Because Pisces is about thinking. Aquarius is about, you just know, it's a knowing. Not a knowing. So we want to honor our women folk. And there's so much that needs to be changed in this at this time, this age. And like we know, we come with a message from the future, from star people that say, yeah, World War III is possible and it's waiting there, but we have the ability and the right to stop whatever it is. But it's World War what? Peace. World peace. So we cannot give up. We can't hesitate because opposites are always in full force with fear-based information and making people think about the planet X and Y2K and 2012 and nothing ever happened, you know? Nothing ever happened. So there's just, I've seen movies that on the TV, some women were talking about this whole electromagnetic pulse that's going to come and knock everything out. It's not going to happen. We get that every day from the sun. It's pure love. It's love, you know? It's there. So anyway, we bombarded all our people that we're around. We hear it all the time, you know? Fear-based. So we got to understand where fear comes from. And that comes from another planet. And fear is not original to this planet, to Mother Earth. It's not original. It doesn't belong here. It created the duality. Another star group had to create that duality of fear so that they could live here amongst us. And they're screwing everything up. We're kind of like in the middle of everything. We can't get involved with it because we end up being like them. Okay? So we got to do our job. We got the earth, fire, wind, water. And I noticed when the women first did this up in Estes Park, I went outside. They prayed about the chemtrails, to stop the chemtrails. We need our air. We need pure air because that's affecting our lungs, you know, affecting all of us. So when they prayed at that time, I went outside and I looked. We got our skies back, blue. I went home, I videotaped, took pictures all the way back into Wisconsin. All that summer I watched, there wasn't one chemtrail. So the power of your prayer and the power of and belief and the belief in yourself and carry no doubts, that's what creates those miracles. We got the abuse of fire going on right now. The abuse of splitting the atom, you know, that created a sphere of fire. War. We have water that's contaminated, polluted, fluoride, all this kind of stuff that's in there. So our earth, contamination of the dirt, water, the ground, the soil. So there's so much to feel because if we keep our elements clean, then we stay healthy. We stay healthy. Because that's what we need to depend on, because that's the core group essence of creating who we are as well. So I'm going to leave it to you to however you want to do this, and we're going to sing. But there's the spirit that comes in, you're going to feel, but you vibrate. The only way we could bring her in is if you carry your heart and lift up your vibration as high as possible with your unconditional love.
We'll gather the women. So ladies with their men.
Any women on their moon cycle? Yeah. everything to have a better acceptance and an understanding. When we all accept ourselves and we have a better understanding of all that is, then we don't worry so much and we don't have those judgments about everybody else. So it's a clear acceptance for all of us in humanity. Solid? And this is a positive, loving thing. So feel the love. Wakapa Homie loves when you're truly coming from your heart, and she knows. And she definitely knows, and she loves doing this work, and it's so much fun. She gets to circle around and become like Superwoman, is what she told me one time. She's like spinning around outside of the earth, almost like spinning it in a different direction, like how Superman did in the movie. So really be solid, team and crush it on. And just like totally be open and willing to receive and acceptance and love. So think about all the things that make you really happy. And then if everybody else is well, while we're doing the ceremony, just sit and think of all the things that you love, all of the things that make you happy. Birds, babies, puppies, whatever it is, chocolate cake, anything, just to keep that love vibration up. And after the ceremony, we're all a little out of it and you're going to feel it too. So please don't rush up if you have any messages or anything that comes in, especially with us women in the circle. Don't rush up and ask questions. We need a little bit of time to ground down afterwards. And then after that, we'll be going into dinner. So we'll go to Heather for ordering food and things like that. So after the ceremony, for those of you, if you're feeling okay, go ahead and start getting the order in so we can get things flowing with that while the women ground down. Everybody hear that?
Yes.
Sound good?
Yes.
Awesome. Great, that's good. And once take your shoes off.
Hey God.
Help her over here. She's a little bit, looks like she had too much. This is one of our elders in this room, this house, in the circle, and she's a sun dancer, one of our oldest sun dancers. She's sun danced many years, so we see a beautiful message, and we ask her at this moment to share whatever it is that we need to share with her.
There's stairs down here. I really have a way of describing. Yeah, there you go. Miss Heart dance just. We have a time. It's not time. And everything's set for us. Oh, talk about it.
Help her back. Duncan, I asked my brother here to say a few words because he says, he's a very well balanced with his masculine and his feminine. So.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here. Right. Good afternoon. The energy was very, very intense. It was very high, very loving. This message is for the men. Do not be afraid to shed your tears. And for you women, to bring the balance, nurture the males. Reassure them. They're saying that they need reassurance as they express their vulnerability to you. Nurture them, because this is who you are. So, thank you, aliens.
Could some of you bring some water to the women here? Fluoride free. the Spirit's very potent prayers and energies that went out. So don't doubt your prayer. And all the Spirit asks of you is to be sincere. That's all. They don't want anything other than your sincerity.
Everybody else's heart, just like together. So with that feeling, the message I received from a couple, how many leaders, she came in as a butterfly, and she gently tapped her wings to remove any of the doubt and anxiety or fear we have about ourselves. There's a lot of pain in my lower back, and that's where we hold fear. That was for everybody here, the doubt of not being worthy of love and acceptance. And it was an activation of all of our DNA, no question. From this moment forward, every single person that experienced that in this room will be on some level more accepting than they were before. So it is. So it is.
Anyway, Tony, who doesn't have water? Who would like some water? Ladies? Who? Their water?
Let's eat. We need to replenish our belly.
Sign them up on life.
Yes. Thank you to the Webb family. Extreme. Yeah, so what time is it?
It's 4:59.
Oh, perfect. We will be back at 6 o'clock. Enjoy dinner.